Max, it's been a few hours. You've done lots and lots of interviews. Have you had time to let it sink in? You're a three-time world champion.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's nice that it's done today. You know, we can enjoy the moment a little bit, but you know, in general, it's just been a really incredible season. And of course, you know, also being part of this team has been like a second family to me. Luckily, also there were a lot of important people from my side of, like my family, my second family, of course, from Rebel. All the, you know, the big guns were here. So yeah, it's great, you know, to be able to you know, see them around and be able to share all the emotions also together.
Have you been able to just enjoy the moment a bit, or is your head into the race coming up tomorrow?
I'm looking forward to maybe the next hour or two, and then for sure, you know, we're very focused also on tomorrow.
It's a good thing it's an evening race then tomorrow. Isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit later in the day.
It's a bit later in the day.
It's good.
Listen, how important is the history of it? Because, you know, I know millions of people have asked you this question. They've thrown all the names at you, the Senna, Lauda, etc. How important is the history to you? Do you know, is that something that means something special to you, that it's three times?
I mean, it's more about, I never thought that I would be in that list. I think when I grew up wanting to be a racing driver or like go-karting at the time, of course you dream of, you know, getting to Formula One and try to maybe win a race, you know, be on the podium. Of course, I never thought that, you know, I would be able to achieve the championships I have now. And yeah, to be in between those names is something, of course, I'm very proud of at the moment. But I think I will appreciate it even more once, you know, you stop your career and you look back at it.
It does seem like your championships have gotten less and less stressful. I mean, 21, 22.
I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, this year's been completely dominant, isn't it? We're miles before the end of the season. Do you sort of miss that buzz, though, of a title fight? I mean, I know 21 was super stressful, but even last year with Ferrari went on, did you miss that buzz, or are you happy just waltzing away in front?
Yes and no. I mean, yes, to fight different teams, I guess so, as a team also. But the competition is closing very quickly. You can see that already today, for example. But on the other hand, I also really enjoy the challenge of, hey man.
1, 2, 3.
Thanks, mate. Thank you. Fred?
Now if it's done.
Yeah, all good. Yeah, thank you. Also, that is very nice that you know, this healthy competition between teams. So that's great. But you know, from my side, I also really challenge myself. Like I really try to get the best out of myself. And every single weekend I try to look at things that I can do better, and I try to improve as a driver, which I think is also great because you have all this success, right? But every single year you learn and you become better as a driver. Not necessarily faster, but probably you can handle situations a bit better because of your experience, and you learn from your difficult moments, your good moments. I think as a driver you have them all. You know, you have bad moments, good moments. That's what makes this sport, I think, also so beautiful.
You talked about the team, but I know from experience, you know, that relationship with the race engineer is super important, isn't it? And you've been with GP, Giampiero Lamvesi, for a long time. Tell me about how important a role he's played in these 3 championships, but also since when you had joined the team, you know, that first win in Barcelona and the whole journey. We hear his voice, we hear the relationship between you guys, but I want to hear from your mouth, you know, how important a role has he played?
Incredibly important. I think a race engineer really needs to understand you, and it's very rare to have such a strong connection, I think, with an engineer. But yeah, GP and I, we really grew in our relationship, I think, from, well, of course we hit the ground running quite in a crazy way, you know, winning our first race together. But yeah, of course, you know, you have your tough moments as well, because I think, you know, I'm a strong character, he's a strong character, but that's what I like, because I will say to him when it's bad, and I will say to him when it's good, and that's what he you know, he says that to me as well, and that's why I think we get on so well. That's why sometimes we get quite vocal on the radio, and then people sometimes think that we don't like each other, but we actually have a lot of respect for each other, and we always want the best, you know, in every single situation. We try to get the best out of it. And also from his side, you know, he has a lot of information, he can see a lot of numbers, and he really tries to also coach me through the race. Of course, I know a lot of things myself when I'm driving, but it's always nice to have that voice
It's like a big brother, little brother sort of
yeah,
dynamic.
I think so.
isn't it?
Yeah, and of course, sometimes in my head while driving, I'm like, okay, I know what to do, but it's still nice to have him on the background.
What about this year? Because to me, it looked like after Baku, you were pretty annoyed that it hadn't gone your way that weekend, and it just seemed like you switched it up as if, you know, now onwards, this is it. I'm going to dominate this year.
Yeah, of course.
Was that like?
That's always the aim. You never know, of course, how that is gonna go.
Well done, man.
Thank you, mate.
Is Fernando popping by?
Yeah, just casually, Fernando walking by. Yeah, it's just a few things didn't click for me that weekend, and I tried to really learn a lot throughout the race, and I think I did. And that's nice because maybe people don't really remember, of course, that race from my side, but I actually learned so much, and I think I could use that throughout the rest of the season. And it's about little details. You know, it's not something massive that I learned, but yeah, it's all about fine-tuning, and that's how. At the end of the day, I mean, there's so many good drivers in Formula One and a lot of talented drivers, and it's all about the attention to detail and the little differences that can, you know, make the difference between P1 and P2.
We've just seen Fernando and Carlos and the other drivers dropping by. We heard from Lewis speaking very eloquently about what an amazing year you've had. Is it nice to have that respect of your, you know, your camaraderies, basically? You know, you're out on track doing battle, but to have that respect for what you've achieved, is that cool?
Yeah, you know, it's the 20 of us all together. And to be honest, we all get on very well. You know, when we have our private meetings with the GPDA as well, you know, we voice our opinions, and I think that's incredibly important. And of course, you know, with a lot of drivers, I've had a lot of intense battles and good moments, and of course, tough moments as well, but that's fine. We are racing drivers, you know, we get over these kind of things, and it's nice to see all that, you know, kind of respect in the paddock, I think.
I want to ask you about the fans, because you know, you have an amazing fan following. This Orange Army, they were here this weekend as well. We saw them on TV. They follow you around. But there's also a set of fans who haven't warmed to you. There's still some legacy, sometime maybe from 21 as well. Do you just accept, listen, I'm at the top of elite sport. I can't please everyone. Not everyone's going to love me. Or is that something that bothers you?
No, for sure not. I mean, I'm here to perform. I'm here to work with my team. I'm here to try to do the best I can, try to make the best out of my career. And I try to be myself. I think that's always, very important, to be straightforward, say what you think. Of course, in this world, sometimes it's quite difficult to do that. But I try to be as real as I am, because what you see here is how I am at home as well. I'm not a different person.
And where do you go from here, Max? I mean, what's the next challenge? We saw Michael Schumacher, for example, left championship-winning Benetton to go to Ferrari. Seb tried to do the same, didn't work out as well. Lewis left McLaren to go to Mercedes. You know, do you need to look for a new challenge, or are you going to be a Red Bull driver for life going forward? Where do you think?
It would be a beautiful story if I could drive here forever. That's for sure something that would be amazing. I'm really happy with where I am. I feel at home. I feel, you know, really happy with the people who are very close to me here in the team. And yeah, I mean, for me, this is not something that I need to seek. But also, you know, I have a few more years left on my contract anyway, so I'm just enjoying the moment.
And the motivation to keep winning races, or is it, do stats matter? You know, are you chasing 7, 8, 10? I don't know. I mean, you're only 26. You could win another 10 championships.
No, for me, that's not really what I'm after. I'm just, like I said, enjoying the moment. I try to do the best I can. Of course, you're very dependent on your material as well that you get in F1. And I'll do it as long as I like it. And that you know, when I look at myself in the mirror and I can tell myself that I'm fully committed and 100% going to go for it, that's going to be, you know, once that day arrives where I can't be fully committed anymore, that's where I'm going to stop. Because then, I mean, you're not in it anymore, you know, for your passion. Because I find passion is incredibly important to be successful. Because every time I come to the track, I want to win. I want to try to do the best I can.
But we saw that passion, I feel, in Singapore. I think you see it in tough moments, right? Like, you were really annoyed after qualifying in Singapore. And it was clear that despite the fact the championship was probably going to come to you and you're winning everything, that passion is still really deep at every weekend, right?
Yeah, I mean, the drive is there always. And yeah, as long as it's there, you know, I will keep going.
Now, finally, last question. You know, we think we're all experts. We sit from the outside and say, you've matured, you've evolved, you've changed in the time you've seen. Do you yourself feel that? Or do you just think, you know what, I could take less risks now because I've got a car that allows me to you know, bide my time and win. I don't need to go for the lunges. Is there a conscious evolution that you have felt, or is it just something that's happened?
To be honest, I think it's normal. I already said that when I was not fighting for championship. I said the mindset is different because I know how that mindset was when I was back in go-karting, because it's the same. When you're fighting for championship, sometimes you cannot pull off a risky move because, you know, there's a 50-50 chance that it's going wrong. And that's the same in Formula One. And of course, at the time, people might question you a bit, like, yeah, whatever, we'll see once he's in that situation. But for sure, it's very different. You know, when you have the opportunity to win maybe once or twice a year, you're going to go all in. Where if you know that you have a quick car and a good environment and you are fighting for a championship, sometimes second is fine as well.
Max, it's been an unbelievably good season. Congratulations on your third title.
Thank you.
Thank you.